On today's episode, we're going to show you how to put together an E3D V6 hot end. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome to The First Layer. My name's Richard Cleveland. I'm your host here 3 times a week, every Tuesday, Thursday, and live stream Saturday nights with my co-host, Brian Baker, where we talk about everything 3D printing. This is a show that explores the world of 3D printing. So if you're new here, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, go ahead and hit that little bell so you get notified every time that we do a brand new episode. Now, today's episode is not sponsored by E3D, but we do have an E3D V6 here on the table. We're going to show you how to put that together. There are 2 varieties that you can get. You can get one with a Bowden setup or with a direct drive. We are using a direct drive version here today because our Prusa printer is going to require us to use a direct drive. Now, you can also buy it already built for you. And we'll go to the side camera here and I'll show you what that looks like. Once I get that open, there we go. Inside you'll find that the hot end has already been assembled and is ready for you to go. And there's no extra tools in there. You can see around back that you've got all of your cabling and things like that. Everything is installed and ready to go. This is basically a plug and play. Go ahead, set it up, and you're all set to go. But what I want to show you guys how to do is how to put the hot end together on your own. Because if you want to save a little bit of money, you're going to get yourself a kit just like this. All the parts come with it, including a little piece of Teflon tube. Comes with all of the parts, including Allen screws, or Allen wrenches, to put all of the parts together with. So let's get everything out of the bag and we will get started here. So in this first bag, we are going to find our thermistor cable and our thermistor. This is a cartridge style thermistor. And we know that this is a cartridge style based on the tubular length of this thermistor. And this is the ones that E3D uses. Try and get a genuine E3D if you can. And this is let's just have a quick peek here. This is a 12 volt, 30 watt heater cartridge. Now, I could certainly go up to a 40 watt heater cartridge if I wanted to, but for now, we're just going to leave this like it is with a 30 watt cartridge. We have a sock. We have our fan shroud that clips right over top of our heatsink, and it also comes with a fan. So we're going to move that out of the way because the important bits are in this bag. And of course, I should open this bag ahead of time. Here we go. Let's just dump everything out onto the table. Put that off to the side. Here you will find your heatsink. This is where your heat is going to be dissipated, and that's where this comes into play. This little piece snaps right on there. Your mount or your fan snaps to that, and that's what keeps your heatsink cool. In this packet, we have our nozzle, our heater block, and our throat, as well as a couple of additional pieces that will go into the end of our heatsink. And then we've also got a little bit of heatsink compound. We're going to show you what that's for. And in the final packet, we have what they call a universal fixing kit. And basically what this is all the screws that you need to put this together all at once. So let's start with the block. That's where I always start. We'll move this out of the way so you guys can see what we're doing. Put our heatsink compound just over there. Now, in the block, you're going to find one side has 2 very large holes, and the other side only has a single hole. This is how you can tell which side is up and which side is down. Where we have the 2 small holes and the large hole, that is the bottom of the heater block. This is the top side of the heater block. The reason that this is the bottom side is so that we can access the grub screw that goes in there to hold our thermistor in place, which is that right there. And that is going to slide right into this cartridge area right there. So first thing that we want to do is we want to grab our nozzle. It comes with a brass nozzle. Now the E3D nozzles are very good. I really like them. So we're going to thread that all the way in till it bottoms out. Once you have threaded that all the way in, and it's bottomed out, you don't want to tighten this to Herculean strength. You just want to back that off about a quarter turn. Then you're going to take your throat, which is this piece, and this throat, there's two sides to it. This is the side that goes up into the heat break, and the shorter end, shorter threaded end, is the side that goes into the block. And again, we are just going to tighten that down till it seats. Make sure that everything is just nice and snug in there, and we are ready to go. Now, next thing, of course, we want to do is thread on our heatsink. But before we do that, we're going to take some of this heatsink compound and we are going to thread it onto the heatsink portion of our throat. We're just going to put a little bit on the threads there. And of course, this requires scissors, which I don't have. Huh. That's okay, we have nippers. All right, so how you want to apply this stuff. And I know somebody's going to say to me, well, Rich, why didn't you put that on the end that goes into the heater block? And I'll explain why in just a sec. So now that we've got that on there, we don't have to be too crazy with it. We don't have to cover it completely up. We can now take our heat break or our heat sink, and we'll just thread that on there till it stops. And now we'll unthread it. So that we can clean that off just a little bit. Okay, so all I've done here now is just taken a piece of paper towel and just gotten rid of the excess. Now the reason we don't put it here is because we don't want to introduce this material into our hot end, because that can cause us issues down the line. So we're just going to thread this back on here. Again, till it's tight. There we go. Again, you don't have to be super Hercules to do that. And we'll start putting in the other parts that we need. Again, this is really easy. It goes together like in no time at all. I really like E3D hot ends because they are all metal, which means you can put higher temperature materials through them that work great. So we're going to take that grub screw, the first one, and we're going to find the right Allen wrench that we need, which I believe is that little guy right there. We're going to drive that grub screw right in here. Get that started. Now you'll notice that we have a longer screw here. This is for the heat break, and it goes right in, or for the heater cartridge, pardon me, which goes right in there. And you want to thread it all the way through. Till it grabs both sides. And you can see it starting to come out the other side, or get close to coming out the other side. Now, let's take our heater cartridge, and we want to decide what side we're going to put this on. For the Prusa, this all comes out on this side. So if you're looking at the nozzle straight on, you are going to put in the thermistor cartridge on the left side. Okay, and then we'll just turn that back over. Drive that thermistor cartridge in there. Make sure it's not protruding out the other side. Get your grub screw down till it grabs, and then just give it a little tighten. Now that's in there. It's seated in there nice and tight. Again, we're going to do the same thing with our heater cartridge. We're just going to uncoil it here. We're going to take the heater cartridge, we're going to slide it in the larger hole. Now the heater cartridge is quite long, so what I like to do is I like to take it and make sure that both the wires are parallel to the tabletop. Find out where that center is, and then I'll just grab my driver and I will start to tighten down, trying very carefully not to bend those wires or break them. So now our heater cartridge is in. We can give it a little bit of an extra tighten here. Once it stops, you're good. And that is how you put together an E3D hotend. Now we're not totally done yet. We still have to put together our fan shroud, and we're going to do that right away as well. We're going to put our little sock on here. Make sure that it goes all the way around. Now the reason that we use this sock, the E3D sock on these, is because it holds the heat into the heater cartridge. And also your PLA or any other material doesn't stick to the silicone, so it's pretty easy to keep things clean as well. So with that said, we're going to put that aside. We're going to start to put together our fan shroud. Now, because this fan is not going to be used, or this fan is going to be used on the Prusa build, we really don't need the shroud, but I want to show you this in case you're putting it on another particular printer. The fan doesn't have any arrows on it to tell you which way the flow of air goes. But from experience, I know that that label that you see there needs to be face down towards the fins. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab these screws. These are self-tapping screws. Just going to drop them in there. And it looks like we can use an Allen key on these, maybe, maybe not. No, we're going to have to get a proper screwdriver. All right, so we got our screws, we got our screwdriver. We're just going to drop those in there because they are self-tapping. So we're just going to tap them in to the fan first, just to get them started. And I like just to have them poke through the other side. Just a little bit. There we go. So you can see that one screw is just protruding just a little bit. We'll do that with all of the other ones. Doesn't take too long. And these will stay straight going through as they cut the threads. And you want to use all 4 screws. Now, when we go to put this into the hotend housing for our Prusa build, which will be coming up on another episode, when we do the X carriage, then you will get a chance to see exactly how that goes in. All right, so we've got a little bit of protrusion there. We are going to put our fan face down. I like to have the wires of the fan near the top of the housing. The housing is, you'll see that it's got a little notch here. This notch is to go around your hotend. So it has enough space for your hotend. You see how that works? You can see it there. There we go. If you were putting this into a different printer. So now we're going to go ahead, drop that in there, and just tighten these screws down. And again, it's going to cut into the plastic because it is kind of soft. There we go. First one's in. and they will protrude just a little bit. Again, don't get too crazy with these. You don't have to tighten them down because they've already cut their own threads and they're tight as they're going in. And I may have used the wrong tip, but that's okay. I think maybe this tip's just a little bit too small for these. So in that case, we open up another set and we get the proper tip that we need. There we go. Always nice to have tools around when you need them. There we go. Now we're getting a better bite. And we're just about there. One more and we're all done. That one just a little bit of a tighten. That's the one that was hanging out. There we go. So all of our screws are in. We'll just snap that on. And there you have it. That is your E3D Bowden mount, or pardon me, direct drive mount. 3D printer hot end. That's all there is to it. Pretty easy to put together. Now what you're going to do before you put this onto your printer is you are going to make sure that it fits properly on your printer. And then once it's all plugged in and you've got it all plugged into the board, you are going to heat up this nozzle to about 200 degrees. And all you're going to do is you're just going to, let's make sure that we're not, there we go. There we go. You're going to heat it all the way up, and then you're just going to give this nozzle a little bit of a tighten, and that'll seat everything properly because this will all expand once you heat it up. So you want to make sure that it's nice and tight. Then let it cool down and start loading in some filament and printing away. Well, I hope you got something out of today's episode on how to put together an E3D V6 hot end. It was educational for me, I know. I've done this a million times, but every time it's always kind of a little bit different. So I hope you guys got something out of that. I hope you learned something. If you did, go ahead, leave a comment down below in the comment section. Hit that like button. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time that we do a brand new episode. Let's thank Jess, who's behind the controls today. There she is. And we also want to thank Spool 3D for all the help that they give us in, having the parts that we need to show you guys. Now, Spool 3D has everything from parts to build a printer from scratch, all the way through to filaments and some great printers on their website. So go check them out today at spool3d.ca. Print it right, print it with Spool 3D. That's my time for today, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to see you next time. I think the next time I see you will be Saturday night at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time with Brian Baker in the house as well. And we are going to be talking about 3D printing. So come join us. I may show off some more painted works that I've been working on. So that might be a little surprise. So until next time, remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print.